Am I the asshole for missing my friend's baby shower after she was over 4 hours late to it? Am I the asshole for being ready for a friend's baby shower an hour before it started 4 p.m., was ready at 3, and the friend, whose shower it was, wasn't yet ready? I kept calling to check, texting etc. The friend wasn't ready until 8 p.m. and finally texted me to come to the shower. I waited 4+ hours and I told her I could no longer attend. Now she's mad, rolling on the floor laughing. Am I the asshole? More info. Also, I called her around 3:45 p.m. to let her know I'd be late, about 15 minutes, and that's when the waiting game started. I didn't go to the venue because I don't know her family well or the other people she invited, and I didn't want to be there awkward if she wasn't there yet. Not the asshole. 4 hours late is just rude. You were right to say you were no longer going. You know the answer, honey. You just wanted to make double, triple sure you were not in the wrong because you're a good person. Not the asshole. OBVS. If there was an announced time of 4 p.m., and in comments you mention a venue and other guests, your friend is obviously the asshole here unless she was in the hospital or something, and even then she needed to let everyone know it was cancelled. There is no excuse for starting at 8 p.m. when people were invited at 4 p.m., though the hour before that is on you. Not the asshole, and she sounds like someone not worth making plans with ever, especially if she's mad at you for not allowing her to be an asshole like this. Who arranged the shower? Surely they're furious. Not the asshole, but also, so many questions. Who was hosting this shower? When? How did you find out she would not be on time? I mean, how is it that you knew not to be on time at the venue yourself? Does this friend have a habit of being late? Not the asshole. 4 hours late was so insanely rude. I have ADHD. I can deal with people being a bit late because I am often late too, but 4 hours is unacceptable. 15 minutes max. I had a similar thing happen recently, went to a crafting evening which was 3 hours long. One group had booked half the seats for a surprise party for their friend. They kept saying, she'll be here in 10 minutes, every 10 minutes, but birthday girl never showed. She finally turned up just as we were packing up, almost 3 hours later. The room was only booked for 3 hours, so she turned up for her birthday surprise and had to leave almost immediately. Lol. In Ta, she was disrespectful of your time and learnt the lesson that people won't wait all day. Am I the asshole for telling my husband to return a puppy? My husband and I are in our mid-40s and have been married 15 years. 2 kids 14 and 11. A couple of years ago our senior dog died. Since then, we've talked about getting another dog, but maybe when the kids graduate high school. Dogs are a huge commitment and I have no time. Kids activities 7 nights a week, and I work 2 jobs, 50 hours total. Husband has a full-time job too, but works from home 3 days a week. Yesterday, I came home to a surprise. A puppy. I felt angry because I made it clear I did not want a dog. The kids were all excited. He said it was my birthday gift. I pushed back and said dogs are a family decision, and I felt that he disrespected me. He flew into a rage, threatened separation, and spent the night elsewhere. He came home today and I apologized for suggesting he got the dog because he wanted it, rather than a heartfelt gift. I told him he needs to return the dog. Am I the asshole? He mentioned separation again and that I treat him like shit. You are not the asshole for not wanting the dog, as it's a huge commitment. You didn't ask for it and your husband didn't consider your opinion on it. However, I do have a question. Why would your husband threaten separation twice, over a non-issue? Why would he mention that you treat him like shit? Because this isn't just about the dog. You two have serious issues and need to work on those, if there is any hope for this marriage to survive. Not the asshole. Threatened separation. Mentioned separation again. God, I hope this works by Beetlejuice rules. Not the asshole. If it truly was a gift he would be apologetic. He missed the mark so badly. It clearly was not a gift for you. It was something he wanted and opted to do without agreement or consultation. You clearly are not in a position to appropriately care for a puppy and his reaction is concerning. If he wants to separate over this, I had to ask, would you be better off? Not the asshole for the dog situation, but there is a whole lot of stuff missing. Nobody threatens separation that deep into a relationship and voices him feeling you treat him like shit for no reason. Regarding what he's saying, it ain't about the dog. This seems like the final straw amongst a lot that you aren't mentioning. Not the asshole. Why would you apologize? Are you used to apologizing to calm him down? It wasn't a gift for you at all. You know it and he knows it. It was what he wanted. You'll be the person taking care of the puppy, training it and doing all that work. That's not a gift, it's an obligation. You should call his bluff on separation and suggest counseling or divorce. He did disrespect you, gets angry and then blames you and plays the victim. Do you want to be doing the same dance a year from now, 5 years from now and for the rest of your life? Not the asshole. It wasn't a gift to you. It was another burden placed on you under the guise of being for you. But ever heard the phrase, "Don't threaten me with a good time"? What is the real downside to him leaving? You're working 2 jobs and handle all the children's activities, and presumptively manage the household based on his juvenile behavior. He didn't only disrespect you, but he lashed out in anger and threw a toddler-sized temper tantrum over being told no. Let him run home to mommy. Your life will get 1,000 times easier to manage without having to tiptoe around his whining. Am I the asshole for not waking up my roommate on the day of his final med school exam? I, 23M, and my roommate Justin, 23M, are med students. We've been living together as roommates for 2 years, and we live in a hostel. Last week were our final year exams, and it was absolute hell. We were surviving on 2-3 hours of sleep daily, fueled by coffee and energy drinks. I know it's not healthy, but there's no other way to pass lol. On the last day of exams, Justin was unusually exhausted. Around 1 a.m., he decided to sleep and told me to wake him up at 3 a.m. I agreed. However, by 2:30 a.m., I was dead. My brain was shutting down, my notes were getting blurry, and I knew if I stayed up any longer, I'd pass out. I decided to wake Justin up early. I woke Justin up at 2:30 a.m. and told him the time and suggested he set an alarm so he wouldn't oversleep. Justin sat upright, rubbed his eyes, and nodded and said, "All right." I was like, "Don't forget to set the alarm," and then almost instantly fell asleep. We both woke up at 8 a.m. I had set my alarm for 6, but I kept hitting snooze. Justin freaked out, accusing me of not waking him up as promised. I reminded him that I did wake him up at 2:30 a.m. and suggested he set an alarm. Justin said that he was too sleepy to comprehend what's happening and insisted that I should have stayed awake to wake him at 3 a.m. or at least made sure he was fully awake before sleeping. Justin's exam didn't go well, and now he's blaming me. I understand his frustration, but I think he's being unfair. Am I the asshole? Is there a reason Justin couldn't set an alarm, or several? Also, is there a reason Justin thinks you're his mother? Not the asshole. It sounds like you were both exhausted and burnt out from studying. At the end of the day, you are both adults and can do for yourselves. It was nice of you to let him know at 2:30 that you were going to sleep and to set an alarm. I understand the frustration of not being coherent to comprehend information though. As someone is in the medical world, and has studied like you all, ultimately you are responsible for your exam grades. I learned that studying at that level of exhaustion doesn't help. If I didn't know the material by then, I wasn't going to. His blame appears misplaced due to not doing well exam. Plus the extra sleep was what his body needed more than studying. He most likely did better than he would have if you would have woke him up at 3. Not the asshole. I hope he never becomes a doctor. He does not need a roommate to wake him. I do not want irresponsible doctors in the future. He can just blame himself. Not the asshole. It's cool you and Justin are able to support each other to study, but that doesn't extend to being responsible for each other's performance in exams. Hope you can both rest once exams are all done. What would getting up at 3 a.m. have achieved? You will have done way better in the exams having an extra 5 hours sleep, and would have done having a proper sleep every night. So you probably did yourselves a favor. And yes, I know about medical exams. Am I the asshole for telling my house guests they need to leave over mental health issues? I, 31F, had a friend, 32F, from university reach out to me asking if her and her sister, 25F, could stay at my place on their trip to the country I now live in before going to other cities. I had no problems with this. They fly over and were expected to stay a week at my place. I live in the heart of a very big tourist city. What I didn't know was her sister has some obvious serious anxiety issues related to dogs. It turns out her sister and her had no idea about different regulations around dogs in the country where I am. Malls, restaurants, bakeries, bars, pubs etc. are almost always dog-friendly where people's pets are welcome and really except for grocery shops they're allowed in and encouraged. Her sister became visibly upset when we for a walk the first day she came and she saw dogs without a lead walking around the city with their owners. She started really getting hysterical when we went inside a local Starbucks and she saw the dogs inside at people's feet. We immediately went home and I told her that you can't really avoid dogs because they'll be out and about. Her sister then told me she didn't want to even leave my place with all these unpredictable dogs and wanted to stay indoors the entire time. I suggested that this week and the following places they're going to visit are going to be exactly the same. The sister immediately tells me that they'll just stay at my place for a few weeks and fly home. I told them I was absolutely not okay with this and that if it seriously was that big of a deal to her that they needed to leave. Am I the asshole for asking them to leave after these change in circumstances? Not the asshole. 2 reasons. First, you offered 1 week, and now they're inviting themselves for more. That's an asshole move. Asshole move number 1. Second, you offered 1 week during which they would be out and about, not a week of them in your hair full time. Again, they are the ones changing the rules on you. Asshole move number 2. It would be maybe a little pushy to evict them early, for spending too much time in the house. It's not pushy at all to evict them after a week, since that's how much time you offered in the first place. Not the asshole. The mistake here was that both your friend and her sister never researched your country's policies regarding dogs in public places. It's common sense to look into a destination's rules before traveling to avoid any potential issues that could disrupt a vacation. It may sound harsh, but it would be more sensible for her to return home since she likely won't enjoy her trip due to her condition, and staying at your house while her sister enjoys the trip wouldn't be fun either. I just want to know where this magical dog city is so I can move. Not the asshole. If I'm understanding this right, they went from being at your place for about a week to now expecting to be able to stay there for several weeks? You're more than entitled to ask them to leave. Of course you're not. They can't just unilaterally extend their stay without any discussion or agreement with you. I suggest you borrow a friend's dog. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Why on earth does this girl travel if she can't handle seeing a dog? That is ridiculous. Good for you for telling them to go. The nerve.